I don't know how it does it. I don't know how Kaguya-sama Love is War continues to one-up itself every single week. Every week, I come into these episode reviews saying this is the best episode so far of Season 2 or the series, and the next episode comes out, I say the exact same thing, and I truly do mean those words. It's a fantastic season, and the episodes continue to build upon that quality of the series, but this episode really reaches a whole other threshold that I don't think the series really has reached unless we're kind of talking about the finale of Season 1 with Shirogane, saving Kaguya and showing her the fireworks. That's like the only comparable episode, honestly, when it comes to what this episode is about. But even then, this episode really does take it to a whole other level with emotion, to the way the themes are displayed, the art and animation, just everything about this episode is just truly spectacular, and it just, it left me very emotional. I'm not gonna lie, watching this episode, I cried. I cried. I'm not even gonna lie, I cried. I sat down, I knew it was going to definitely be a heavy episode, because the whole presentation at the beginning and everything, it was very clear it was gearing up for a very emotional episode, and I was fully aware something very sad was about to happen, even before this episode came out, not because I'm being spoiled, which I wasn't. I'm just saying it's very clear that something was going to happen to Ishigami. There was something building up for these past few episodes, and this episode finally gets us into that. It gets us into what Ishigami was about to deal with, and so I knew this was going to be emotional, even before this episode came out. And even knowing that, I still cried. I still legitimately got sad, cried, and was like, this hurts. It legitimately hurts, and I love just the showcase of how Ishigami developed, but also how Shirogane once again steps into the spotlight to really save someone else. And that is something that really does need to be mentioned, and I think many are going to kind of overlook that a little bit. When you really think about a lot of characters that went through a lot of emotional stuff throughout Kaguya-sama, not just Season 2, but Season 1 as well, Shirogane has always come in and actually saved the day. He's always someone that's coming in and really shining bright and helping someone out of, depression. Let's think about the beginning, with Kaguya. Thanks to Shirogane, Kaguya got to see the fireworks. She got to have a little bit more light in her life. She got to have something fun happen besides being kind of locked up in her house, not being able to do anything. She was able to have some form of happiness within her. So Shirogane was definitely someone that came to save the day at the end of Season 1. Now we have Season 2, we get to see how, Shirogane came in and he saved Miko. He was doing that whole speech. He allowed her to be able to speak in front of everyone and, basically not be embarrassed and get bullied, etc. Shirogane went in and actually helped her out. And then we have this episode where Shirogane helped out Ishigami with his past of, how he couldn't apologize and how he couldn't write, a letter of apology, etc. And I like how Shirogane is being depicted as someone that really has came into these individuals' lives and made their lives so much better. Even though, technically, the series isn't saying he's the MC, he's really done so much for all these characters. I mean, it's honestly just mind-blowing to think about. And I really love the image within this episode to where Ishigami's going for everything. He's going for all this sadness, depression, etc. And you see how he's in this dark room, and Shirogane kind of forces his way inside of his room, and you just see the light slowly grow as he walks towards Ishigami. I love just the way this image looks. The imagery of that scene alone is spectacular, and I really just like how it's showcasing how Shirogane is as a character, how he literally drags you out of that and tries to bring you into the light. It's very easy to catch, but it's still, I love the image. I always love imagery that shows stuff like this, with the light kind of shining in on the darkness and, letting you see that there is more to life than just sitting in misery. It's stuff I really do appreciate, and I got emotional, honestly. I really got emotional watching this episode, but it really is a roller coaster of an episode throughout. There's happy moments, but also very sad moments, and I want to get into all of that. So, we knew that something happened in his previous school. It was already established in the previous episode that something happened with this girl, this guy, and he was accused of being a stalker, and we get full context to what actually happened. So Ishigami was a straight-up good guy. He was someone that had justice. He was someone that just wanted to make sure that, someone was treated right. And we've seen this already through a few little scenes with how he helps out Miko. Even though Miko is someone that doesn't actually seem to really be nice to him. She does care about him. We even see a brief scene where she does care about him, but you have Ishigami to where he actually is always trying to help others out. He doesn't like to see people being bullied. He doesn't like seeing people, being excluded, depressed, etc. He wants to help them out, and in this case, that's what he did. He decided to help out this girl that was relatively nice to him. She was really kind, nice, sweet to him, constantly kind of just cheering up his day, because he was a loner even in, middle school. He didn't really do much. He was just always someone that just was existing, so to say, in school. So then he finds out that she actually got a boyfriend, and when he first saw, her getting a boyfriend, he wasn't interested in her in terms of love or anything like that. He wasn't jealous, and he even said that most of the time when he saw two people to get together as a couple, he'd be very upset, and he's like, get annoyed. But when he saw her actually be with someone, he genuinely was wanting her happiness. He's like, I hope she has a really good time with him, and it's a good person for her, etc. You see that he genuinely wanted her to be happy. And then we cut over to finding out that the dude that she's with is actually a scumbag and doing really awful things like cheating, etc. And it results in Ishigami confronting the man and figuring out, like, why are you doing this? You need to stop this. Treat her better. She deserves better. And obviously, it causes a huge scene where people start to, think that Ishigami is a stalker. And the dude kind of just, completely froze Ishigami under the bus, saying, oh, he's a stalker. Oh, this is why he's doing so-and-so. And he kind of puts Ishigami in a corner, like, hey, if you try to say anything, you spill the beans about me or anything, I'm going to straight up really take this out on the person that you're trying to protect. And on top of that, you imagine how everybody will feel, how anyone will react to her and make her feel if she had to go for her life knowing what her boyfriend was doing, etc. So Ishigami took it upon himself, that burden, to protect her, and he didn't expect anything out of it. He did not expect nothing, no reward, nothing. He just did it because it was right. He didn't want to see her life completely ruined. And what's really hurtful about this entire scene and what hit me emotionally is because after he does all of this, because I kind of understand, where he's coming from. He's just wanting to make sure that this person that is really kind-hearted actually gets the person she deserves, because she does deserve a good, nice relationship. And when he is saying like it is and all that, he does look very crazy from his, I guess from everybody else's POV. Looking at him from the outside, he looks crazy. And when you have that scene where she points at him and says, you're crazy and all that, you're mad, you gotta imagine how much that hurts him, because in that moment, he's trying to help her, protect her, but the very person he's trying to protect and help, and the one that's actually given him happiness and helped him out, etc., just straight up turns on him and says that he's disgusting, a stalker, etc., and then he just goes into this spiral of depression, and he even though he knows he could easily get out of it if he just apologizes and just moves on, he can't do it. He cannot say he's sorry because it goes against his very character as a person. He can't go against what he believes in, basically apologizing to a man that's such a scumbag that would put this person he actually cared about into such a position. And so he continued throughout the rest of his days in middle school trying to write a letter, but he really couldn't whatsoever until Shirogane popped up and is like, this is what you should be, writing, get out of here, get out of my face, etc. And I do like how he said those very exact same words to the girl that came to the school festival from Ishigami's past. It's a really good callback to show his growth as a character, but also to show that Ishigami is not trying to look at the past no longer. He's trying to really move on and become a better person and move past that darker time, out of depression, which I do like how this episode themed that as well, and I don't think many are going to appreciate that of what this episode actually did. See, going into this episode, I figured that he was going to be set up by the school. I thought the high school here was actually going to be setting him up. I thought that the club that he joined, the cheerleading squad, was setting up Ishigami. I thought that there was going to be people within the school to do something really despicable to him, but in reality, that did not happen. Everything that was kind of dark and depressing going on within this episode was just all in Ishigami's mind. He was all just envisioning what he thought they were saying, what they were thinking, how they were feeling, because the darkness and depression that had him and gripped him very hard since the very beginning of middle school was still there, and thanks to kind of the cheerleading squad, but also Shirogane, it kind of opened up his eyes to really let go and really try to move on. It's just something I truly do appreciate. appreciate. I really do appreciate how the way the drama was handled, the conflict wasn't something that was very predictable. It was something to show that it was just all within Ishigami's mind. All the conflict that happened within this episode was just in his mind, and there was no one else really doing anything else. It was just his past that was just holding him, and he finally moved forward. It's something that's so beautiful, something I really do appreciate. Which, speaking of which, let's talk about that girl, by the way, that, is connected to Ishigami in his past. So, I highly doubt she's going to be someone that's going to be important anymore. Like, I doubt we're going to see her probably ever again. Maybe she might be mentioned here or there later on, but I do think that when it comes to her relevance to the story, she's probably gone, because the whole theme of this episode was basically Ishigami moving away from her and trying to be better in his life, and so I don't think she's ever going to appear again. However, she is very significant for what Ishigami fought for and what suffering he went through, and even Kaguya kind of says it the best. She basically says that she can't believe that Ishigami went through so much. He went through all of that trouble, all of those problems for all that time, basically for nothing. There was nothing that he got out of it. There was nothing that he personally gained. The only thing he really did was protecting her innocence, and she's ignorant to the whole thing that actually was happening behind the scenes. And so Kaguya's like, you really think that I am that cruel to kind of manipulate her to come to this school festival for Ishigami can, see her? She's like, no, I'm not that cruel. She just came here and all that, and, I do think that I shouldn't confront her about it, because if I did, it would go against the very thing that, Ishigami is fighting for. For instance, her to smile and be ignorant to everything that happened. So, just, I don't know, it's a fantastic episode of Kaguya-sama Love is War. I really cannot begin to describe just how beautiful this episode is emotionally, with the themes, to just the depression and all that. There is so much good within this episode. There is so much passion within this episode of Kaguya, and it's been very clear. I've talked about it so much, but it blows my mind with how good this series is, and how the animators behind it really do love this anime. They really love it. Like, you don't just go in like you did in this episode. Like, normal animators don't just go in, because they usually just don't have the time. But it's clear the animators are probably taking as much time out of their day as they can to really make this as good as they can. And it shines. It really shines. You can really tell when a studio loves a series and then doesn't love a series. Like, you could just see the differences of love and not love when a studio picks up a show, and here you go. But, yeah, one thing I do want to talk about, though, before I do wrap up, this video, I do like how the eyes that were kind of being hidden throughout the past few episodes was kind of given importance within this episode. Basically, all their eyes started to appear when Ishigami finally looked at them and noticed that the darkness that was surrounding him was just in his own mind, and it wasn't them, and you just see how he actually is able to see their face. It's something I appreciate as well. I do like that theme that played in. It wasn't them viewing him like bad, but it was all in his mind, and it honestly reminds me a lot of Silent Voice. Like, if you ever watched a Silent Voice or read the manga, which, oh man, the manga's one of the best series I've ever read, honestly. I'll just say, a recommendation right now. If you love this episode, I really recommend A Silent Voice. That's 100% recommendation. But, getting back on topic, though, like, I haven't seen, like, a theme like that with the faces being kind of, like, shadowed off like that since that series, and I think that the way it was handled really kind of nails home of what really the conflict in this episode was about. And Ishigami character development, I love it. So I'll leave it at that. I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.